The year is 1095 AD, a world standing on the very brink of a holy explosion. Full remission of all sins for every soul brave enough to march. They took the sacred vow, leaving their lives and everything behind. 4 massive armies, one singular goal, the conquest of the Holy Land. Emperor Alexius watched in awe as the West arrived at his gate. The princes swore a blood oath to return all lands to the emperor. With hearts full of fire, the Crusaders stepped deep into enemy territory. They were fast, lethal, and waiting silently within the jagged hills. At Dorylaeum, the knights felt the first lethal sting of Turkish steel. They pressed on, miles of dust and suffering behind them. Heat and thirst killed more men than the sword. Hunger and disease began to thin their proud ranks day by day. Smaller strongholds fell, but at a cost. The final massive obstacle standing in the way of Jerusalem. An ancient city, formidable and ready to be fiercely defended. A natural fortress on a mountain, far too vast to ever fully encircle. A giant army settled in the dirt, praying for a heavenly miracle. As autumn turned to ice, the hope of the Crusaders began to fade. Men and horses starved together, freezing in the biting winter cold. A small trickle of aid arrived by sea, but it was barely enough. Radwan of Aleppo struck to break the siege, but he failed miserably. Death and desertion rose steadily with every passing week of misery. To many, the situation now seemed utterly and completely hopeless. In March, a new fleet arrived, bringing vital supplies and new life. Bohemond found a bribed commander to allow a secret, hidden ascent. As the dawn broke, the massive city gates finally swung wide open. A frantic flood of crusaders surged into the streets of Antioch. A brutal massacre began. Soldiers and civilians fell to the blade. Survivors fled to the mountain heights, continuing their desperate resistance. The city had fallen, but the true fight was far from over. A massive black shadow, the relief force, was already on the march. The conquerors of Antioch were now the ones trapped inside. Starving and surrounded, it seemed the end was finally certain. Fearing the absolute worst, Emperor Alexius turned his armies back home. In their darkest hour, a vision led them to a relic. Whether real or not, the Holy Lance changed their spirit forever. Outnumbered and desperate, they chose to fight in the open. Men swore they saw angels and saints charging alongside them. With the fury of fanatics, they shattered the Turkish battle formations. Kurbuga fled in terror, his army scattered by what seemed a miracle. Witnessing the defeat, the citadel defenders finally lowered their flags. The road was open, but the leaders began to fight over power. While the Crusaders argued, Egypt seized Jerusalem for its own. A divided Muslim world left a gap for the Crusaders to exploit. Egypt offered a truce, but the Crusaders only wanted the holy city. He claimed the city for himself, breaking his sacred oath. Bishop Adhemar passed away, leaving the crusade without its soul. At Ma'arat, the brutality of the crusade reached a horrifying peak. The march resumes. Driven by their men, the leaders finally turned toward the south. After 3 long years, Jerusalem was finally within their sight. Many fell to their knees and wept at the very first sight.